Ooh, baby. Oh, yeah. So remember how in the last video at the end I said that we were going to be doing an install on LED lights on the Ford GT? Yeah, that's going to have to wait. This is a little more important. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of RC Overload. And yes, today I have yet another unboxing for you guys. This one I am extremely excited about. Proline Racing has finally come out with a 4x4 monster truck in a 1/10 scale. Oh baby, I've been waiting for this. Now, as some of you guys know, a while back I got the Proline Racing two-wheel drive monster truck. This guy right here. This one has been in quite a few bashing videos, and it's been an absolute blast to mess with. Now, Proline Racing actually took that truck, same size, same dimensions and everything, and threw a four-wheel drive system into this new monster truck. Except, they took some 1/8 scale concepts and put it into a 1/10 scale size truck. So what does that mean? You basically get a truck that laughs at you when you throw in a 1/8 scale brushless system on 4S and launch it off of a jump into infinity as it's just waving by to you, laughing all the way. So enough about that. Let's get into talking about this truck, what some of the features are, some of the specs, and some of all of that goodness that it comes with. I think I've had a little too much coffee this morning. Oh well, this should get interesting. So, taking a look at the box here real quick, go over some of the stuff that are on it. You'll notice it says it's pre-built, which means the truck is completely built 100%. The only thing that you're going to need is the electronics for the truck. Plus, you're going to need to paint the body up, but we'll get into that here momentarily. It is off-road capable, four-wheel drive system. Extreme durable performance, right? This is awesome. On the side, you'll notice some of the features. Some of the features include front pivot ball suspension, front, rear, and center diff with Mod 1 gears, precision steering, aluminum pivot blocks, aluminum motor mount system, balanced weight distribution, front and rear sway bars, and a few other things as well. But we'll get into all of those details here momentarily. On the back, you got some really cool, like a poster thing. You could cut that out, put that on your wall. I might actually do that. Now on the other side here, you're going to see that the equipment that's going to be needed for it, as well as the kit specifications. As far as the equipment that you're going to need, again, you're going to need all of the electronics. I'm talking about the transmitter, ESC, receiver, servo, the motor itself. You're even going to need some paint to paint up the clear body here. But it does come with a 3mm hex driver and a 17mm wheel wrench with this truck as well. You will need, when you're working on this, a 1.5, 2, and a 2.5mm hex driver and a 5.5mm nut driver. So those are some of the tools that you will need. As far as the dimensions go, the overall length is 18 inches, the width is 14 inches, wheelbase is 11.2, and the overall weight of the truck is 5.7 pounds. Alright, so what is some of the stuff that you can find when you open up the box? The first thing you're actually going to notice, and I'm going to mention this now, is the fact that the tires and wheels are not mounted to the truck. They are pre-mounted, you just got to take them out of the bag and mount them up on the truck. The 17mm wheel hex nuts are in the parts bag, so you just got to find the right parts bag, open them up, and mount the wheels to the truck. As far as some of the stuff that you will find in the parts bag and the bag of paperwork and everything, is you'll find your two basic tools, your 17mm wheel wrench and your 3mm hex wrench. We'll find a bag with a Mod 1 gear already in it. Now this truck does come with a 16-tooth Mod 1 gear already, so you have a gear ready to go. Even comes with I had to open up the parts bag, so it's all over the place. It also comes with 3 different mounting setups for the motor. What these are designed to do is set the proper mesh for your pinion and spur gear, depending on what size pinion gear you are running. Now they do list all of that in the instructions book, so if you are trying to figure it out, they will list that in there. Also comes with some foam blocks. Also comes with some basic replacement parts, some servo horns, sway bar end links, and some piston heads for the shocks. So, you get an antenna tube. I just had to do that. You'll also get a whole bunch of paperwork. Yay, paperwork! You got your window decals for the Sentinel body that it comes with, along with a sticker sheet. You have your Proline user manual, which literally goes over everything in the truck, breaks it all down as far as what parts, part listings, how to go about setting up your suspension and stuff like that. So one of the things that I want to talk to you guys real quick about as far as what electronics will fit in this. Now, Proline Racing does give you this sheet here to kind of give you an idea as far as what electronics you can fit in this and what would actually be pretty good for you. Now, depending on how much you want to spend or really what you want to put in it, they broke it down into two systems, the budget system and performance system. Now, the budget system is really designed around 1/10th scale size brushless systems. Don't know why that was so hard to say. But that's more capable for 2S and 3S lipos. And some of those electronic systems are like the Traxxas Valenian VXL system, the Dynamite Taser with a 3300 kV system, or the Castle Sidewinder 3800 kV system. But if you want to do a performance system, you can go with something more of a 1/8 scale brushless setup, which can be compatible up to about 4S lipo. Some of those systems include the Castle 1/8 Mamba Monster 2200 kV brushless system, the Tekin RX-8 ESC with a 2250 kV brushless system, or Hobby Wings X-Run XR8 Plus ESC with their 1900 kV brushless system. So that kind of gives you a little idea as far as what motors can go in it and what they recommend for the truck, depending on really what it is you want to do. As far as what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be putting in the Castle 2200 kV system in mine. Other than that, that's all the stuff you'll find in the box other than the truck itself, which once you get the wheels on, it will look exactly like this. This is the Sentinel body. This body is the same body that was also found on their two-wheel drive monster truck version. It is unpainted, it has been cut, it has been drilled out, so all you really got to do is just paint up the body, add some stickers, and you're pretty much ready to go as far as that part of it goes. The other thing you are going to find on this truck are the tires and wheels. Now, the wheels themselves are a completely new setup. They are 17mm wheels. The reason why they went with 17mm wheels and hex adapters and all that really is to help prevent the wheel from stripping out under extreme loads. Since most of us are going to try to put as much power as we possibly can to this little guy here, they really wanted to make sure the truck itself was completely beefed up to be able to handle all of that without really any issues. Now, like I said, Proline Racing is using their 17mm wheel hex adapters and 17mm wheel hex nuts on this truck, both in gunmetal and aluminum for that extra durability. Now, the tires that are on here are their Badland MX-28 tires. These are the same tires that I've used on my two-wheel drive truck, which have been used many, many times over. I absolutely love these tires. They grab everything and go. They got some massive, massive lugs on here. They're really designed around motocross tires, really. Now, Proline also has come out with a few other tires, so you can put something else on here. They've come out with their trencher tires, their prime tires, and some paddle tires as well for this truck, all pre-mounted on their 17mm F11 wheels. So now, looking at the truck itself, when you open it up and look at everything inside, the first thing that I noticed anyways was how thick all of the plastics are. I mean, the plastics themselves are generally very stiff and solid. They're not a cheap plastic by any means. But just the oversized of some of this stuff is just awesome. It just screams durable. Now, the chassis itself is actually a 3mm aluminum gunmetal colored chassis that does feature a hardened steel center spline to help keep the durability of the truck. Now, this center spline does go from the center diff to the rear diff itself. Now, Proline Racing also made sure to use their body mounting system, which does feature a simple little screw nut that holds down the body instead of a body clip, which I personally love. It makes things 10 times easier. Plus, they also reused the same front and rear bumper from their two-wheel drive truck back on this truck. Like I had mentioned, it's basically the same truck with a lot of different changes to really beef up the truck in general. You'll also notice the high side panels that are on it. This helps keep a lot of the dirt and debris from getting inside to the electronics and the gears that could potentially screw it up. Now, they also use that same setup in their two-wheel drive truck, which is phenomenal. It works very well. I actually don't collect a lot of stuff inside on the chassis, so I'm very excited to see how well this setup does, since it does seem to cover a lot more of the chassis and the electronics than before. Now, a couple of the other little things you're going to notice on the chassis is stuff like the rear support brace for the extra protection on the rear differential and keeping everything nice and secure back there, along with the servo support brace as well. It's not just a typical mounting spot for the servo. It actually features a couple of plastic braces that go around the servo to help keep it in there securely. Last but not least is the battery hold down straps, which are extremely long, so that way you can mount up to a 4S LiPo battery in this. Now, one thing I want to point out is that the motor mount setup is all completely aluminum. However, you don't adjust the pinion and spur gear mesh from inside the truck. Actually, you access it from underneath the truck. The motor mounting setup uses different adapters depending on what pinion gear size you're using in order to create a perfect mesh to the spur gear every time. Now, one thing you'll notice on those different adapters is that they have different dots on them representing where you should be placing them and what position they go in depending on what size pinion you're going to be using. Now, one last thing you'll notice about the chassis itself is that Proline Racing made sure to get a almost near perfect 50-50 balance in the truck when considering both front and rear or side to side. They wanted to make sure the truck was evenly balanced throughout so that it's easier to control and it's easier to control in the air. So it makes it, in general, easier to do tricks and flips and all sorts of fun things when you're out bashing. Now, moving on from the chassis itself, we have the drivetrain system, which the entire drivetrain system was designed around the fact that you could use a 1/8 scale brushless system. They wanted to really be able to put a lot of power to this truck and just make it absolutely a beast when bashing. They use all hardened steel drive shafts throughout the entire truck. The front and rear differentials are hardened steel as well, and the whole truck uses oversized bearings all throughout. Now, the center differential is plastic, but from seeing some of the videos of the truck running and from hearing from other people talking, there hasn't really been any issues whatsoever when it comes to that center differential and being plastic. All of the differentials in this truck are completely tunable. So you can put in whatever weight oil you want, you can experiment with it, and they've made it very easy and accessible to get to those gears if need be when you're doing maintenance, tuning, or just in general cleaning out the area. Now, this does also feature a Mod 1 gear setup, and for those of you that don't know what a Mod 1 gear is, it's basically a little bit larger than a 32 pitched gear, and they're more well known for being extremely durable and strong. And on from the drivetrain system, we have the suspension system, which is, oh my god, it's beefy. And it's got some unique features about it that you don't typically see in most, at least 1/10 scale trucks. For instance, we have a pivot ball suspension setup up front, something similar to that you would normally see in a Traxxas Revo. I use that as reference because I have a Revo right there, and that's the first one that came to my mind. But it uses a pivot ball setup in it to make the suspension system easier to use and maneuver. Plus, it also has the replaceable inserts inside, so if the inserts inside of those pivot balls ever wear out, you can easily enough replace them. The control arms on this truck are extra thick plastic control arms. Typically, you would find in a lot of the control arms is that in the center of them, they have like holes cut out in different shapes. Well, Proline didn't go that route. They actually kept the whole control arm basically one solid mass. This really helps to improve the overall strength of the control arms to help prevent them from breaking when you're jumping them over some seriously massive heights. Now, the suspension system also features aluminum arm mounts with plastic hinge pin inserts similar to that of 1/8 race buggies to help with the overall strength and durability of the suspension system. Now, the shocks on this truck are a 1/8 scale 16 millimeter set of shocks on both front and rear. They are fully adjustable, and they do have a lot of the same features that you would find actually in their Pro Spec shocks that they carry. Now, the shocks on these have a plastic upper cap, but the entire body itself is completely aluminum. Now, one of the other things you will notice that this truck also does feature front and rear sway bar links, which is not, again, something common in most monster trucks or in 1/10 scale trucks in general. Again, this is to help with overall handling of the truck when you're out bashing. Now, the last thing you guys are going to notice about the suspension system is the oversized steering assembly. I mean, damn, this thing's huge. Now, the steering assembly in this truck does feature a servo saver that can be adjusted with a 17 millimeter hex wrench, like the one supplied in the kit. Also features an aluminum center drag link and oversized large bearings. Now, one of the cool things that I actually just discovered about this truck when I was just looking around at it and messing around with a few things is to adjust the shocks, right? On the lower half of the shocks, you're actually going to find that they don't even use a screw to hold it to the control arm. What it looks like is that they use a steel pin to hold the shock to the control arm. You'll actually see a small set screw down on the control arm. If you were to remove that set screw, you can actually pull that pin out to change the overall position of that shock on the lower control arm. Just simply pull it out, change it, put it back in, and tighten down that set screw, and there you go. Pretty simple. All right, guys. Well, I think I covered as much as I possibly could remember about this truck and everything I wanted to talk about anyways. But if you have any more questions or comments about this, feel free to post them down below in the comments section. I'll do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, I'll put all the information about this truck from Proline Racing down in the description box for you. And don't forget, as always, you can save 10% at ProlineRacing.com using the coupon code RCOverload10 at checkout. Well, that's it for now, you guys. I gotta go and order the brushless system up for this truck. Get that ready to get put in. I will plan on making a video as far as the electronics go and what I'm putting in this and how to go about doing all of that, just in case you guys have any questions. Stuff like setting the gear mesh using the supplied mounting setups for it. We'll go over all that in the electronics video. But that's it for now, you guys. Until next time, I'll see you on the next RC Overload.